Hey guys, welcome back to Arcanum, and we're going to be playing Time to Pay. Oh, we're going to be playing episode 6. I just started reading. Oh my gosh, I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's fine. I was requested to play Arcanum next, so here we are. Y'all just wanted to scare me, but that's okay. Time to pay a visit to an old acquaintance, the most guileful lady in Totspell. All right. So this game is about. Story is about as spooky as I'm gonna get for Halloween month because this one scares me, actively scares me more than I didn't expect the story to be this scary as it is. So that was surprising. But yeah, so I'm super nervous about the things that we'll figure out this story update. Chapter 6. Hello, Mary. The night was restless. Selena kept hearing the gnashing of claws and someone's heavy breathing. Oh, also, I think I have. Hold on. Let me mute this. Yep. The music in my daughter's room is playing. Let me just put the camera up so I can see her. Okay. Right. She dreamed the bathroom was covered in blood and someone was standing behind the door. Selena couldn't see who it was, but she felt a pair of red eyes staring at her. In her dream, she was convulsing in agony while Josephine stood nearby laughing as she waited for Selena to die. Oh yeah, that happened. Josephine is quite a character. She could see blurry, indistinct silhouettes that inspired fear. Selena got out of bed with the first rays of the sun. She was covered in sweat, her knees were trembling, and her heart was pounding heavily. She calmed down a little, got dressed, and left the room, but the memory of the nightmare never subsided. She had a bite to eat, then she went to the hall and stopped right in the middle of it, looking around. I can't be impartial anymore. I became part of this nightmare. I need to figure out how to get out of it. She was calm, collected, and determined to solve the mystery of the hotel. The ghosts haunt me for a reason, right? There are two options. Either they want to scare me, like in typical horror movies, or they want to tell me something. Josephine tried to poison me. I'm no longer safe, and I never was. So, I need to act decisively. Selena took out a bunch of keys she had been given as a servant and rang it thoughtfully. The ghost told me not to trust anyone, that's a given, but then I'll have to start my own investigation. I should have done it earlier, but I'd hoped that one of these days I'd wake up in my bed as if nothing had happened. Now it's clear to me that the old woman and the tarot reader want something from me, and they won't let me go until I accomplish whatever it is they want. Well, I'll play their game. Where should I start? The library, the basement, the abandoned wing of the mansion. We were in the library the other day, no? So let's try some different areas. Should we go to the basement or the abandoned wing? Why is it abandoned? I'm not a big fan of going underground, so maybe we should start there. Selena chose a key, the lock clicked, and the door opened with a creak. It smelled like mold and dust. What happened here? Took a picture of it in the hallway. She walked along the hallway looking around. Everything was black, charred, probably gnawed by fire at some point. Who set the fire? No furniture, no things, only room structure scorched by flames. I'm trying to see if I spot anything in the background, because usually there's always something creepy back there that you didn't notice the first time. But to be fair, there's daylight coming through. Those things usually pop out kind of at night. The mansion survived a fire. I wonder what happened. An abandoned painting lay at the end of the hallway. Selena lifted it by the frame and examined it carefully. The painting is intact. It looks like it was brought here after the fire. Odd. That man looks like Josephine, and the woman looks like Liam. So they're parents, and that's the grandfather who said he had the one who wrote the book, right? I think that's what happened. Wow. A man with a gray beard, stately and even menacingly, stood behind a woman's back. There was something in the face of Edgar Salisbury that caught her eye. His severe stance and the emotionless face covered with deep wrinkles depicted him as a just and stubborn person. The woman next to him resembled Liam, and the man looked more like Josephine, although he was younger than she was. Probably it's their parents. Why did they die? Maybe during the fire? The tragedy happened a long time ago, but the walls absorbed the burning smell, reminding for many years to come of the unfortunate day when the entire mansion wing burst into red flame. There wasn't much else to see here. The hidden and forgotten part of the hotel was left behind. Okay. But we did get some interesting information there. If it were a horror movie, that's where I get killed, so I have to go there. I don't like that the music changed. Narrow stairs led her to an iron door. Selena touched the rusty lock. What's hiding in here? However, none of Selena's keys would open the door to the basement. Oh, that means we definitely need to get in there. For some reason, I think there were more keys in this bunch. Did Josephine decide that I shouldn't be trusted and took some keys away? Sounds about right. Selena pressed her ears to the door and listened carefully. She recoiled and listened again. There's someone in there? A hostage? Hey, can you hear me? Selena knocked on the door, prompting the voice on the other side to answer. Then she fell silent and listened again. But the crying stopped. I heard something. I didn't imagine it. Do you want to rot in there? Answer me. I'll leave if you don't answer. Suit yourself. Next time I'll come with a crowbar. Basement. I'll come back here. Selena gave up trying to reach out and went back to the hall. Okay, definitely some secrets down there for sure. Let's see what else we can find there. Okay, see, this is what I mean. There's a ghostly figure right here. If you look in the background, there's some creepy stuff back there. Oh, there's like footprints. I don't know. It might be just a window. Selena walked along the shelves, this time inspecting the books with a clear mind. The last time, she barely understood what was happening and followed instincts. This time, though, her gaze was focused like a hawk's and noticed every single detail. She recognized at once Josephine's handwriting on one of the book covers. Gotcha. The pages were covered with neat calligraphic handwriting. On the spine, Josephine wrote, "The point of no return." The book described in detail deaths from the disease, its stages, and causes of infection. The drawings depicting the symptoms of the disease were ridiculously sketchy, but executed with a pedantic care nonetheless. At first, Selena flipped through the pages quickly, almost without reading, but she decided to take a second look. There must be something here. At the very top, in big bold letters, it was written, "Point of no return. Recipe." Recipe? What the hell, Josephine? Oak root, ropes and black widow's petals. What does it all mean? Whoa, why are they telling me this information? Not confirmed that I need notes or anything, but I think I should grab a pen nonetheless. Widow's petals. Okay. The recipe was followed by a note. Expected action. The next page was torn out. But why? Selena took the book. I guess I have nothing else to look for here. She returned to the hall. Okay, we got some nice clues from all different locations. The stairs and floorboards creaked. Light crept up stealthily inside the house, illuminating the hall but leaving the corners in blinding darkness. Selena went up to the paintings and examined the forever frozen faces. Hopefully they don't, freak me out again. A stranger, locked in a gilded frame, looked at her with a heartfelt, unblinking gaze. Nope. Is it safe? Is it safe? Okay. Okay. Wait. I don't know why I'm covering my face and then looking this way, because I'm just looking at the recording of myself over there. So I'm still looking at the story. On the stairs, Rob stopped and began to examine the paintings on the walls. His gaze froze on the portrait of a woman. Oh, that must be his mother. My mom came to hot spell, stayed at the hotel, disappeared. So this woman is Rob's mother. Her face seems familiar to me, as if I saw her in a haze flying down the hallway. She came closer, touched the dried paint with her fingertips. What did they do to you? Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Here we go. Here we go with this. That's not a good sign. Selena jumped back and grabbed the railing. Hastily, she went down and ran out into the garden. Are we going to find the little girl here? She sat down on the bench, covered her face with her hands, trying to calm the fear and rage that had accumulated over the past few days. Come on, think what to do. Staying in this house is insane. There she is. Prima, that's what it is. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Selena abruptly removed her hands, startled by the unexpected voice. Where have you been? Prima started walking back and forth. Oh, I'm not needed here yet. What does that mean? The garden doesn't need you? Gardening is my hobby. Prima peered into the servant's face. Are you sad? Do you care? Josephine tried to poison me. Crazy shit is going on in the house. I want to leave. The girl laughed. What's so funny? You have to stay. Her voice suddenly lost its childish tone and became severe. Give me at least one reason. She laughed again and began to spin around with her arms outstretched to the sides. The hem of her dress fluttered, exposing her thin legs. You know, what if the little girl is either the old woman or the tarot reader? What if it's the old woman? Because the way she seems like super like mocking, and like doesn't really care about what Selena's feeling or anything like that. In a sudden switch up, I bet the little girl is really like one of them. I can't put my finger on it just yet, but maybe the old woman. Because I had forgotten that the old woman was the one who casted the spell. Honestly, I had kind of been thinking about her as the same person as the tarot reader. But what if they're two different entities? I don't know. Because no one will shelter you. I'm going to live at the pub outside with the first person I meet. At the pub, I got attacked. Outside. That's dangerous. With the first person I meet is also dangerous. None of these are good options. Selena living in the wild. Yeah, right. We can take over somebody's house. These are terrible options. I have no choices. You don't have many principles, do you? Even if you promise to spend the night with the first person you meet, you won't be allowed on the doorstep, no matter how much you want it. You'll always get the same answer. Why? They're afraid of you. What have I done? Oh, a lot of things. Helpful, as always. You know more than you say. Why are you still living in this damn hotel? Because I don't care. It doesn't concern me. Well, that sounds familiar. So many people are missing. Why didn't the police investigate this place? Tospel is a unique city. If it doesn't want to be found, no one will find it. There are no police here either. The people take justice into their own hands. This is crazy. Is it? Oh, this is some kind of nonsense. Senna pointed towards the house. I just saw a painting tearing up, and yesterday a hand grabbed me. A ghost or some kind of creature. I don't know. Maybe Josephine has been poisoning me all this time, and that's precisely what happened. Nothing surprises me anymore. The city doesn't exist, but here it is. Maybe ghosts are real here, too. Senna got carried away with her own thoughts, ignoring Prima, but the girl only shrugged in response. You spend too much time debating the reality of things. Imagine that all this is for real, and act accordingly. Senna stared at Prima. She smiled empathetically in response. No one said a word, but it was as if a silent dialogue was going on between them. At some point, Selena quickly got up, wanting to grab Prima, but the girl dodged and ran away, bursting into laughter. Who are you? Without turning around, she shouted, I'm the first in everything. Selena watched as Prima hid between the trees. Her laugh gradually died down. Prima knows something. She knows more than everyone in the city, I'm sure. She returned to the house. I'm definitely sure that Prima is one of those characters. I'm the first. She's a tarot reader. The tarot reader was the first guest. He's the first one who had the painting on the wall. Prima is the tarot reader. I'm just writing down what she said. Liam stood on the stairs with the rag in his hand and diligently wiped the painting. His hands were shaking and he was sweating all over as if from excitement. Josephine was fussing around him. She watched what he was doing and at the same time whispered something to him. A couple of lines reached Selena. Found a new one, but she seems to be a well-known person. What do you think? Without stopping his work, Liam replied, "Since this hotel is yours, your business, do as you please. I don't understand this." I get you. Liam turned to Selena. Lilith, how are you feeling? She reluctantly went up to them. Did you see them too? See what? Bloody tears flowed from the woman's eyes. You're wiping them off, aren't you? Liam laughed and shook his head. Your imagination's enviable, Lilith. I don't think so. Liam was dusting off the paintings. Then why didn't you tell me to do it? I'm the servant. We decided it was early for you to get back to work. Have a rest. I don't think Liam is a bad person, unlike Josephine. She's absolutely a bad person. But I can't trust him with how crazy he is. And he's absolutely crazy. Something is absolutely wrong with his mind. And I'm trying to decide if I can deal with that or not. Because I'm still trying to decide who I want to romance. I have no idea. I don't know yet. It was my idea. How kind of you, considering that was you who poisoned me. Liam put down the rag, turned to Selena, and taking her hand, asked, Can we have a talk? Before you start, Josephine handed Selena a card. It read, I'll be waiting for you at 3 o'clock, Mary. She asked me to give it to you. Got it. The muscles on Josephine's face were twitching here and there with tension, tried to contain her emotions, but with every second it was getting harder to do it. Come on, Lilith. As soon as they turned around, Josephine said, I can go with you. Sister, we've talked about this. Don't upset me. She tried to touch her brother, but lowered her hand and said coldly, I hope Liam will calm your anger, Lilith. When she left, Liam took Selena back to the garden. They sat down on the bench. Liam noticed from the girl's face that she had a lot to say, but she was silent, calmly waiting for what excuses he'd come up with for his sister. I understand how you feel. That's unlikely. Liam was hurt by her icy voice. Is she going to distance herself again and treat me like a stranger? Okay, I just need to remember that in his mind, we are not strangers at all. But my first reaction is, we are strangers. But I don't know. I feel like he's also in a way treating her like a stranger with the secrets that he's obviously keeping. Because I feel like he knows a lot more about some of the stuff that his sister is doing when he says, and it's not really. I don't know how I feel about the fact that he didn't tell me about it. I don't know. But then again, if I'm treating him like a stranger, I don't know. But does he believe me when I say I lost my memory, though? Because if he does, then I'm not doing it on purpose. I go back and forth. Whatever happens, Josephine loves you. Yeah, okay. Selena laughed bitterly. Sorry, but that makes no sense. She loves you, but she loves me more. And this love makes her blind with fear for me. Sister thinks she mean to hurt me. She didn't even try to figure out the situation. She didn't even ask me. Everyone knows you do what you want to do. You can say one thing and do another, and no one can guess what's on your mind. Josephine decided it would be easier to get rid of me than figure it out. Liam took Selena's hand and looked imploringly into her eyes. I have no right to ask this for you, but still, can you forgive her? No. Nope. No. 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 Am I really supposed to say I'll try? No. Ugh. Gross. No. Ugh. I hate it. So kind, my sweet Lilith. What about me has ever been kind? He kissed her hand, barely touching the skin with his lips. Your mercy knows no limits. I'll do it for you. I have no sympathy for Josephine. Don't ask me for it. Oh, I understand. He blushed with joy upon hearing Selena's words. Liam glanced at the window, but immediately looked back at Selena. She turned around and noticed Josephine watching them, unsuccessfully trying to hide behind the curtain. What's wrong with her? She's afraid you'll bewitch me with your ideas like you've done more than once. I'm sorry, what? Never mind. Josephine is a sick person. So are you. The madness gene runs in your family, right? Liam looked down, shook his head, and after a pause asked, Did you remember? Maybe I should play along. I remembered some things. Let's not talk about bad things. Selena frowned and jumped up from the bench. That won't work. There are too many secrets, there's danger at every corner, and I can't tell what's real and what's not. I'm imprisoned. You say that you're my friend, but you won't help me. Who knows? Maybe you're one of the ones who imprisoned me. What are you talking about, Lilith? People are going missing at your hotel. Are you doing this? Are you in it with Josephine? Lilith, answer me. Liam fiddled with the edge of his sleeve thoughtfully. His fingers gnawed frantically at the fabric of his shirt. I understand you forgot a lot and you don't trust us, but believe me, it's not what you think. Then what is it? What is it then, right? We're not killing anyone. Having said that, he trembled as if the very thought of murder terrified him. Did Rob tell you that people go missing? No, Rob didn't have to tell me that. It doesn't matter. I see. You see? Is that all you can tell me? Okay, though. You don't have to answer me. Just know that from now on, I cannot trust you. From now on, I'll always be on the alert. You're even more dangerous to me than the people outside this mansion. I don't know what's going on here, but believe me, I'll get to the bottom of the truth if I want to. Liam laughed, trying to drown out the fear. Lilith, how can you not trust me? How can you say such terrible things? But his lips uttered something completely different. You're acting like a child. Excuse me? He lightly hit her on the forehead. You're mad because you don't understand what's going on. You always do that. Selena stroked her bruised forehead, offended. What are you doing? But the joyfulness that suddenly got hold of Liam was unstoppable. He plucked a flower, deftly tucked it behind Selena's ear, and said, Sit on my lap and I'll tell you a story. Not a chance. You're smiling, that's better. Would you like to listen? Maybe I can answer some of your questions. Tell me the fucking story. I ain't sitting on your lap. If you have nothing more to share about the hotel, I said everything I could, Lilith. Is some sort of spell keeping you from speaking? Because if it is, then that's one thing. But it doesn't seem like that's the case, and I'm gonna remember that. Because if that's not the case, I will never trust you again. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm actually gonna write that down. Because I'm really struggling. Like, I'm trying to get past the idea that there's something containing him, or I really want to make excuses for him because he really does seem like a nice person, but it's really hard for me. Like, I have trust issues. He says he can't tell me. Okay, so potentially something is keep holding the information back. Potentially. Okay, let's just see what the story. In that case, tell me your story. Liam spoke in his voice quiet, almost from beyond the grave, carried them away into another world. Some sort of mist took over the garden, hiding the narrator and the listener from prying eyes. Once upon a time, there was a boy. As a child, he was mischievous. Selena sat on the bench, leaned on his back, and closed her eyes. The boy tormented the neighbors, hurt girls, teased his dog. Whoa. One day when he got angry, the dog bit him. Offended, the boy threw the dog out onto the street. Next day, he called the dog back, but he didn't come. This is cool animation. He wandered for a long time, but his faithful friend didn't respond. The boy was about to return when he found the dog's lifeless body in the bushes. No matter how much he cried, there was nothing to be done. The boy walked back home, but a shadow followed. It loomed over him, judging him and accusing him. The boy ran home, but the shadow kept up. It chased him wherever he went. The boy tried to make amends, but the shadow followed him relentlessly. Years of endless anxiety and regret have passed. The grown-up man learned to ignore the black silhouette following him. He allowed himself to get another dog again, only when he was an old man. She spent 15 long years with him. She was by his side during the last minutes of his life, but the shadow was hovering over his bed even then, silent and grieving. As he was dying, the old man cried, and the old half-dead dog licked away his tears. Through quiet sobs, the old man confessed, "I'm really sorry that I let my friend down. I betrayed him. I don't know if he could have forgiven me for that. Probably not, since the shadow is still here. But I realized that my past doesn't determine my future. I realized that before moving on, I had to forgive myself. The shadow told me about this." As soon as the words escaped from his parched lips, the shadow disappeared. The old man sobbed harder than before. The dog licked away the flowing tears and howled bitterly when her owner stopped crying. Wow. What a sad story. Your grandfather told it to me when I was little. Frankly, I burst into tears then. Why did you decide to tell me? I don't know. I felt that you needed to hear it again. Just tell us about... Shush, don't. Let this be food for thought for the future. We looked at each other in confusion. Liam's finger froze on Selena's lips. Liam smiled and hastily removed his hand. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's okay. Liam stopped laughing and looked at Selena with a heartfelt gaze. It was as if he was probing her with his eyes. I feel naked when he looks at me like that, as if he looked straight into my soul. Liam averted his eyes before Selena could say anything. Is Mary waiting for you at her place? Is he trying to change the subject? Yes, I'm going to get ready. Have a good time. Liam stayed on the bench. When Selena turned around, he waved his hand at her and smiled. There was something about his smile that Selena didn't like. There was something mournful, sad, full of anxiety about it. Noticing that Lilith stopped and looked at him, Liam waved at her again and laughed. Hurry, Mary doesn't like to wait. Lilith nodded and disappeared into the house. Liam closed his eyes and whispered something she'd never hear. Be careful. Selena was getting ready meticulously for her meeting with Mary. She was excited but wouldn't admit it. Her long-forgotten former employee suddenly became dear to her compared to the rest of the Totspell citizens. Selena buttoned the last button and looked in the mirror. Ooh. Very pretty. That's cool. I like that. I really like this one. Looks like it will be itchy though. I prefer this one, to be honest. I don't feel like I have to buy this one. I think it's okay. Okay, I'm gonna get it for now. Something's missing. Sat on the dressing table, turned her head to one side, then to the other. Selena opened the top drawer, took out a lipstick, powder, and scented rose water. She carefully sniffed each item, twisted it in her hands for a long time, not daring to use it. Okay, hoped her lead mercury free. Oh, makeup. A cat look. Mistress makeup. Or natural. Okay. I like this one the best. It's her skin tone. Can I pop into, oops. Yeah. No. We started with that hair, right? Or do we start without hair? I can't remember. This one's kind of fun. Let's wear one of the free ones though. Let's go in that. She carefully looked at her face and said, "You'll get out of here soon." She got up, straightened the hem of her skirt, and went to Mary's house. The servant met her at the doorstep and immediately led her into the hall. The rest of the guests have already arrived. The rest? When they entered, the first person who caught Selena's eye was Bert. He was talking about something animatedly. He barely glanced in their direction and turned away to finish his conversation. But when he saw what he saw made him look at Selena again. Bert didn't move and just stared languidly without blinking. He looked like a cat before an attack, hypnotizing its victim. The tips of his lips curled up. Bert's gaze made Selena feel hot. Lilith, we got tired of waiting for you. Mary took her hands and led her to the table. She looked at the guests and smiled contentedly. You look great, my dear. Mary is pleased that you prepared properly for the meeting. Oh. It's rude to keep people waiting, especially for a girl in your position. What to say? No one should be late. You were hoping I wouldn't come, right? Wow. Those both are kind of fighting words. I'm curious. Should we be cheeky? I don't know which one is more cheeky. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Your perspective? Huh. I thought that one was more cheeky. I thought we'd be alone. Don't worry, they'll be leaving soon. Mary tinkled a bell and shouted, Kathy, bring some appetizers. The ring of the bell brought on the memories of the previous evening. Yeah, definitely don't eat or drink anything. Selena timidly raised her hand, looked at her hand. Her wrist was smeared with oily paints. Oily paints. They brought that up again. Oily paints. Oh, so are they saying? Oh. Maybe the ghost there was Rob's mother, and she was the one running paints. Is Bert involved in all of this? Liam also paints. Just saying. She looked at him, trying to keep a straight face. Bert seemed to deliberately avoid her gaze. He obviously knew that Selena was looking at him, but continued to play some kind of game of his own. Okay. Lilith, I don't know what's the matter, but you seem different. It's a real crime that we talked a little before. I don't see anything different. She was vulgar and rude and still is. Emily sipped her tea, looking at Selena calmly. Why do you despise Lilith so much? Because. She felt silent, not knowing what to answer. She jerked her head, threw back the curls from her shoulders, and said, Do I need a reason? Oh, Emily, don't worry. You had reasons to dislike me. I never met you halfway and made you work overtime whether it was your daughter's birthday or Christmas Eve. Despite your clumsiness and sluggishness, you tried to do your best and I didn't care. I kept you around out of pity and I tortured you because of your inability to get better. You're just an ordinary, stupid, unremarkable person who is worthy of respect for the simple fact that you tried your best. Wow. That's insulting and yet nice for Selena at the same time. But I didn't respect you. I despised you and you felt it. I don't know why I kept you around. Kathy brought the appetizers. Anything else? No, leave us. The maid bowed and left, quietly closing the doors behind her. So many beautiful ladies in one room. That deserves a drink. Bert, do you want to make a splash? Oh, please. Do you imply that you were unaware of how beautiful you are and a simple compliment like this can make you uncomfortable? Well, you seem clueless since no woman's been allowed to get to know you better. Selena choked on her tea. Excuse me. Maybe I think women aren't worthy of me? Emily laughed and slapped her on the shoulder with a glove. Even me? That wasn't supposed to be there. Mary listened to their dialogue while calmly drinking her tea. Her face showed no emotion. Her aristocratic indifference concealed strength and control of the situation. Bert gallantly kissed the back of Emily's hand, looked at her from under his brows without raising his head, and then slowly pulled back and said, I think men waste their potential by running after every skirt. A man, like a woman, should commit only to the best. Emily blushed, lowered her eyes, and brought her hand to her mouth to hide her smile. Careful, Bert. Just a little more and I'll give you my heart. Take your time. My heart is enough for me for now. He's bluffing, Emily, like all men. You think so? Bert laughed, only then he allowed himself to look at Selena, but only for a moment. And why is that, Mary? When men say they don't need a woman, it means they need a specific one, but they can't get her. Don't make up theories, Mary. The hostess, still collected and calm, looked at Bert, and Bert looked back at her. They both pretended to be relaxed. Without taking her eyes off the guest, Mary slightly tilted her head towards Selena and asked, Do you agree with me, Lilith? What does she know about love? Only people like us have time for high feelings. Path of High Priestess. High feelings are for everyone, both the shepherd and the king. And has our shepherdess experienced love? Selena closed her eyes to contain her anger. Even as a mistress, Emily invokes nothing but contemptuous pity in me. I don't know what love is, but not because I didn't love. Because she did. She nodded. Love has many faces. Hatred and anger are also types of love. Only indifference is alien to love. According to your theory, you love everyone. Not at all. I'm indifferent. Sounds sad. Bert said nothing, just looked directly at Selena. Seemed that he was struck by that terrible murderous word that escaped from the girl's lips. Indifference. Mary glanced at her watch, got up, and began to put away the cups. We got carried away. Just look at the time. Kathy? The maid came back to help clear the table. Bert got up. I'm sorry, but I have to leave. I've got many things to do in the workshop. That's wonderful. I'm going in the same direction. That's right. How's your head, Bert? The pain gets worse, but I'm holding on. Do you have enough candles? Yes, I have a couple left. That'll do for now. Bert kissed Mary's hand and bowed to Selena. Nice to see you. Emily, would you do me the honor? My pleasure. She took his arm and together they left the hall. Selena looked at their backs, but Mary distracted her by putting her arms around her shoulders. I know what it looks like he's like flirting, but it's obvious in his flirting with the other woman. I think he's either intentionally trying to make Selena jealous or like his comments while he's directing them towards Emily are actually directed towards Selena. So I'm surprisingly not mad by it. I just kind of think it's funny. But the idea of playing those sort of games is still not my cup of tea. So I don't think I'll be dating Bert, but he's an interesting character. I'm not mad at it though. I wouldn't put it away to not ever date him. But right now I'm still in between. So that narrows it down for me. Liam and Rob. But I do like Bert. I do like Bert. I don't know. I'm just not down for the games, but I get it. I get it. He's doing his work. It's for some people. I've seen some Bert love on Reddit, so let's go, dear, to a more comfortable place. Mary brought her to her bedroom. Oh yeah, that's right. I think Mary might be an ally as well. The room was spacious and bright. Academy hid the bed from the prying eyes, adding a note of intimacy and mystery to the bedroom and inviting a surrender to passion. Ottomans were scattered on the floor. Sit down. Mary slowly lit a few candles. The room got filled with a scent of musk and hot wax. I used to hate this place. I knew that behind the canopy, he was waiting for me. The walls have absorbed his scent, the scent of an old male body. Sometimes I still feel it. I can't sleep until I light the candles. That's loaded. Why did you marry? Well, I guess in this time period, Mary lit the glass candle. She was in no hurry to answer. He saved me. From what? I was sold to a brothel in a nearby town. I was little, so I needed training at first. It was an elite brothel. The girls were supposed to be pros, even virgins. Mr. Brown was my first client and my last. He paid extra to be my only client. And then he bought me out and married me. Mary's hand froze over the burning candle, but she didn't as much as flinch while this flame scorched her skin. I hated him for taking advantage of me, for the fact that I should be grateful for his desire to own me completely. She seemed to wake up from a dream and turn to Selena. Let's not talk about it. Wow. Mary took out a cigarette, lit it, then joined Selena. She straightened her skirt, brushed the ash straight to the floor, and said, I've wanted to talk to you for a long time. Earlier you didn't favor me and refused to come to me. What caused your interest? It's so boring in the city that everyone's lost their minds. They're afraid of each other, knowing about the madness going on around. Are you referring to the Salisbury family? Mary's eyes sparkled. Josephine is hysterical. She can be controlled like a puppet. Their artist is a dark horse. He looks very calm, like a well-fed cat, but as soon as I joked about that strange photo in his pocket, he almost strangled me. A temperamental man. So Selena a predatory, almost devouring look. You're a strange person as well. Can't figure out your motives. What kind of photo? Mary took a puff, playfully watching her guest. Stretched out her lips and blew tubers of smoke into Selena's face. I was already mad that she was smoking. I was trying to keep that contained. You blow smoke in my face? I hate cigarette smoke. I hate any kind of smoke. Hate it. Detest it. Absolutely. No. You blowing that shit in my face? Ha ha ha. She laughed, throwing her head back. Then she stopped abruptly and slowly ran her tongue over her lips. Ask him yourself. He is your lover. Things have changed. I got that already. Bert doesn't believe you forgot everything. He knows you too well. But he was offended by your games, and now he won't let you near him, even if you want to. Okay, I see. So, to Bert, I played games first. And so now he's playing games to get back at me. Okay. Interesting. How do you know about Bert and me? I'm pretty sure Mary knows about a lot. Mary touched her shoulder and whispered languidly. I know everything, my dear. Maybe then you can tell me about the tarot reader. The candles went out all at once. The room plunged into darkness. However, the next second, the room got illuminated again by quivering flames that flared up all at once. What was that? But Mary didn't seem to notice anything strange and ignored the question. Tarot reader. Yes, I met him. Selena shivered. It was as if the tarot reader was standing behind her, grinning, watching her attempts to find out about him. Selena looked over her shoulder apprehensively. So was the story meant to be that the shadow watching me is the tarot reader and that I need to forgive myself? Don't know. But there was nobody there. Mary's excitement also subsided. She no longer laughed. She kept shaking off the ashes and continued to smoke. Once he touched my hand, and I suddenly felt such hatred. Part of that darkness remained in me. I could not get rid of it. I don't even understand the reason for it. But I learned to get along with it and found a way to manage it. Tarot readers sharpen those feelings Mary had for me in the real world, or maybe I'm looking for a connection where there isn't one. You talked to him about anything? No. One touch. That's all the interaction we had. Mary threw up her hands as if she remembered something and exclaimed, I have an idea. How about playing a game? She took out a deck of cards from the dresser. Tarot cards aren't for playing, but fate plays us all the time. Why don't we play with fate too? Of course. Tarot. Mary began to explain the rules of the game. You'll draw one card. If it's turned away from you, you'll tell me a secret. If it's turned towards you, then I'll tell you a secret. Agree? Sure. Playing with fate might be what we're supposed to do anyway. That's exactly right. Mary stirred the deck and spread the cards out in a fan. Take your pick. Ooh. Oh, is this a picture? Okay. It was a picture. I didn't get it. First card, second card, fourth card, fifth card. What happened to the third card? What? But 2 is my unlucky number. Ha! It's facing away from me. Ha ha! I have 1. Tell me your secrets. You got lucky. I'll have to tell you a secret. Cough it up. 2 is my lucky number. Bam. Mary got up and began pacing back and forth, trying to collect her thoughts. She touched every object she passed by. Finally, her voice rang out, restrained on the verge of apathy. I grew up in a poor family. Sometimes we didn't eat for several days. My mother got sick when I was little, and for many years she raised me through the pain. She worked and did her best to keep our small house clean, despite the tormenting pain. I dreamed of buying my mother a house where the maids would do everything for her, where she could rest. With a sharp movement, Mary threw the hem of the skirt back and sat down. But I didn't have time. Mom died and my stepfather sold me to a brothel. Now I'm Mrs. Brown, the widow of a man who ransomed me as a thing, albeit a loved one. Mary told me that she dreams of building a house for her mother. The story matches the real world. Oh yeah, it's good the reality turned out to be different. I'm sure you did a lot better in another life. Mary laughed sadly. Well, it's a pity that I don't remember other lives. I swear all these candles, something's gonna catch fire in here. Mary got up again and began to spin, smoothly moving her arms. She began humming a slow melody. What are you doing? All of a sudden, Selena felt at home. It was hard to tell whether it was Mary's quiet, gentle voice or the mysterious yet calm atmosphere of the room. Her body felt heavy, her mind became clouded, and she felt like smiling every now and then for no reason. Do you know what an adagio is, Lilith? It's a tempo in music, as slow as your dance. Mary closed her eyes and smiled, continuing to swirl around the bedroom. That's right. She came close to Selena and stretched out her hands. Dance with me. She a witch? They danced to Mary's quiet melody. For a second, I started wondering why it doesn't work. What are you talking about? Mary clung to Selena and whispered in her ear. Thank you for brightening up this day. In gratitude, I want to give you new emotions. Everything flooded before Selena's eyes. What's going on? I lit special candles. They'll liberate you. You're always so tense. She spun, forcing Selena to follow her. The room became blurry. Are they like erotic candles? Mary's hands started to touch Selena's body. Selena saw Mary's wide-open eyes everywhere. Tell me, don't you remember anything? Her breath burned Selena's ear. No? Don't you remember our agreement? Or did you decide to go against me? Is she trying to seduce me into learning my secrets? and to see what I actually know? She's interrogating me through seduction. Wow. What a little minx. Mary, whirling, got behind Selena's back and whispered, "Answer me, Lilith." She wants to find out something. I don't remember anything, Mary. I'm telling the truth and the candles won't help you. She put her arm around Selena's shoulders. I was so angry when I found out that you were having fun with Bert, that you chose him and not me. But you avoided meeting me. I thought I wasn't worthy of your attention. After all, you have blue blood, and I'm a dirty commoner, and this dirt cannot be washed off by dressing me up and teaching me manners. Her voice was hypnotizing. Selena was struggling to stay on her feet. You drugged me. Give in to Mary's temptation or push Mary away. When was the last time I was drugged? Shadows the Same 4. Luke. He drugged my drink. Oh, I was drugged earlier in the story. I was poisoned. Bruh. Look, no. No. I wasn't interested in romancing Mary, before, because, I felt bad that I treated her poorly, and then to seduce her without her remembering that here kind of felt wrong. But she's turned it around. She's seducing me. I can't really be mad. I'm not mad, but yeah, she definitely can't be trusted. At least not right now. I'm scared by the battle music going on now. She threw off Mary's hands. Are you mad at me for this? Why did you do that? I wanted you to relax. Mary put out the candles. Not the best way to befriend me. Mary shrugged her shoulders indifferently. I'll take it into consideration. Her gaze became cold and detached as if she had suddenly lost interest in Selena. I'm leaving. Thanks for stopping by. Kathy will see you out. When the door closed behind Lilith, Mary hunched over. She was shivering and fell on the bed. I ruined everything. I'm liking that we're getting like little flashes into the other characters' minds. It kind of helps me like figure out their character and like figuring out who I can rely on in a sense, for the most part. I like that. She was hiding her emotions there, but she was upset with herself. That's interesting. Okay. See, like I said, I'm not mad. I'm okay. But don't do that. Seeing Selena, Kathy put down the rag and asked, "Are you leaving already?" Yes. It was obvious a certain one to know more details, but didn't dare ask. One foot outside the door, Selena turned around to say something to the maid, but her mind was still foggy because of the candles. Is everything okay, Lilith? Yeah, why are you afraid to come to our hotel? Does it have anything to do with missing people? And what does Mary have to do with all this? Way to be correct, Selena. Oh, if people just disappeared, it wouldn't be so scary. She immediately fell silent, realizing she blurted out too much, and fearfully turned around and checked if the mistress heard her. Why are you asking these questions? You told me once that what doesn't concern us should neither scare nor worry us. I don't remember saying that. You said that before you changed. It was as if you looked out of our city from the side and you were horrified that you used to be a part of it. So, I knew what was going on in the hotel? Kathy laughed nervously. Oh, I wouldn't say that. Mary's voice coming from the room got the servant's attention. I must go. She seems out of sorts. Stay out of it all. And don't tell anyone about our conversation, okay? Don't worry. Your secret's safe with me. You're the one who told me the most so far. Interesting. Kathy picked up the hem of her skirt and ran to Mary. It's like a lot more people were involved in all of this than Rob thought. But it's apparently not what I think. What? And what does she mean? Like, I wouldn't say that I knew. Was I running the things? It smelled like it was about to rain. The sky rumbled. Is that why everyone's afraid? People hurriedly ran about their business, trying to manage everything before the downpour. Selena also quickened our pace. Hey, what's up? Rob? He walked looking at his feet, frowning at his own thoughts. Lilith? Where are you coming from? I was at Mary's. Went to talk. I also have something to tell you. Did you learn anything? Let me show you. They hesitated a little. They were both glad to see each other and both embarrassed by that. In the city of secrets and mysteries, they were both loose cogs. Finally, Rob smiled and waved his hand. After you? Thank you. As they headed in unknown directions, Selena shared what she had learned. She gave Rob the book she found in the library. He flipped through it. Do you think Josephine was involved in the Tossbell epidemic? Epidemic? Is it that serious? It's a small town. I've already heard about 5 cases. It's a matter of time before the others get sick. They were silent for the rest of the way. Selena, to her surprise, felt calm next to Rob, almost at home. They barely knew each other in the real world, but here was enough to confide in him. And yet he remains as private as he was when we first met. Rob in turn struggled with his own question. I've learned so much about Lilith, but yet I still trust her. Why? He cast fleeting glances at her, each time hoping to find something in her face that would help him understand. Have we met before? That thought was almost obsessive. He shook his head and tried to focus on the road. Seeing wooden crosses, Selena stopped. Is that a cemetery? They approached one of the graves. There are no names. There's another cemetery in Tossbell with names. Why would such a small town need multiple cemeteries? How did you find it? I'm not wasting my time. Selena squatted down, touched the still wet ground. The grave is still fresh. Rob flinched almost imperceptibly. He turned away so that Selena wouldn't see his face, and for a while looked off into the distance until he could cope with his emotions. Yes, it looks like this is my mother's grave. What? I'm sorry? Okay. Rob walked around the rows of lopsided crosses. I do want to know why he thinks that, though. And I thought she was... Whoa, whoa! What was that in the trees? You asked why Tossbell needs a second cemetery? Do you have a theory as to why? Maybe. Tell me? I think the whole city knows what's going on here. They let outsiders get caught in the net like in a spider's web. The city is swallowing up other people and no one really cares. You think... Yes, I think all the hotel guests are buried here. You think Prima's, What if Prima's dead? No, well... Because they talk about her. But maybe they see ghosts too. I don't know. That was a lot to think about. Mystery here is interesting. I'm very intrigued. I'm so curious. Anyway, I guess I'll go in this part right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is crazy. Let me know what you think about Bert's games and Mary's games. That's interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and show a like button, some love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!